Okay. So I'm super excited about this session of Entrepreneur School today that I get to bring to you because it is different than any of the training that I typically do, which is usually within the realm of branding and marketing. So if we haven't met yet, hi, I'm Kelly. I am the founder of Entrepreneur School and KS and Co. And I'm a brand and marketing strategist. And I am based in Cochrane, Alberta. So shout out Christiane, who's also in Cochrane. I I'm really honestly so pumped about this conversation. And I think it's something that we all need to, learn more about and think more about because the truth is in entrepreneurship, we're kind of constantly just wanting to get results, right? We want to hit our goals, see things happening, feel like all the effort that we're putting in is actually paying off. And we want like that, like today or yesterday, or, for me, 5 years ago. So it's a challenge. But the thing is like entrepreneurship is hard. Before I even started my own business, I had so much respect for anybody who would pursue their own passion. And then I became an entrepreneur and I realized, wow, it's even harder than it looks. So I get you. And I want to like commend all of you for doing what you do. Put in the chat for me what it is that you do. I know we've got professional organizer. Dove Tech Enterprises is bookkeeping. That's awesome. Three Seed Shop. You make products that are amazing. And what else do we have here? Working towards a tutoring business. Oh, very cool. That's very cool. Yes. So all kinds of different people here in the room today, which is awesome. I would really love for this to be an interactive conversation as much as possible. So feel free to chime in on the chat as I'm going through if you have questions, or if I ask something, I would love to see your responses, and feel free to also unmute and just jump in. This is not just a I talk, you listen, and then take the orders or whatever kind of thing. It's an interactive, and I want to understand like what your questions are and what your challenges are with some of the things that we're going to be talking about today, because this is a conversation about like the challenges that you face, what's getting in the way of actually getting the results that you're trying to achieve in your business, right? And for me, I'm so passionate about this whole topic of entrepreneurship because I really believe that one of the keys to happiness in your life is being able to do something that you're passionate about. And when you can find work that is meaningful, you will feel more joy. And we spend an average of a third of our lives working, which I think is a staggering statistic. So it is incredibly critical that you're going to spend that time intentionally and making an impact and doing things that you love, right? Because being an entrepreneur is exciting and the possibilities for you are endless. And I will say, you can have everything. I do believe that you can have everything that you want and more. And today, what we're going to talk about is a simple framework that is going to show you the one thing that you need to do in order to get the results you desire. So what I'm going to do is actually share with you a workbook that you can use for our training today. And I don't know if you have Canva is especially great because I'm giving you a link so that you can just pop it into your own Canva account and then edit and type right into it. So here's the link for that. Let me know if you have any challenges with that. I think that I can just add a file, a PDF file. Whoa, no. No, Zoom doesn't want me to do that. So hopefully that link works for you guys as a starting point. And if not, just take notes in your own notebook, whatever you've got going for you today. And I'll show you a couple of visuals on the screen as well. So thinking about like the results that you most desire, I've heard, a lot of really great ones before, and I'd love to know what yours are. But things like maybe you only want to work 20 hours a week, or you never want to work a Friday again, or you want to hit that 10K months, or you want to get on stages in front of your ideal audience, or you want to take 6 weeks of vacation, or even just the main goal of being able to make an impact and help the people that you desire to help with what you do in your business. Before we dive into like all of the strategies and the mindset shifts and everything that you need there, I do want to share a little bit of my backstory because it kind of makes me laugh a little bit. The fact that I never actually wanted to be an entrepreneur. And here I am uh, owning a business called Entrepreneur School. So my oh dear, what is happening over here? There we go. Okay. So I was 30 years old and I thought I had it all figured out because obviously I was 30, which is like, all the life experience. At the time I was married, had my 2 kids, a dog, was a homeowner, had traveled to over 20 countries, and I was working in my career of PR and climbing that corporate ladder at a big PR firm. So at the time, that was like doing life like you're supposed to do it, right? My kids were 1 and 3, and we were getting them out of bed and into childcare by 6 a.m. so that we could be on the road and at the office by 7. And I was drinking all the coffee, literally. I had a thermos, like a go mug that I would drink, and then I would fill it up before I even got to work with my thermos of extra coffee that I brought with me. And I was a total zombie, but I didn't even notice until one day I got a call from my dad while I was in a meeting at work. And he told me that my mom had a seizure and she was in an ambulance on the way to the hospital. And I froze because I knew that I could get a call like that. My mom had cancer. It was spreading in her body, it was in her brain, and we knew that. But somehow the severity of her health condition did not really register until I got that phone call. And then I was faced with making a really difficult decision. And I didn't know what to do because every choice seemed hard. I could stay at work, but feel like I was letting my family down, or I could leave my job and go into an unknown territory and feel like I was letting my team down. We were working on some big projects that seemed to matter to me, it was hard to decide. But what I did decide was to take a leave of absence, and then 8 days later, my mom passed away. And when you experience a loss like that, you think about life differently and it becomes clear what really matters. And things like spending more time with my kids instead of having someone else look after them for nearly 12 hours a day mattered. And having the freedom to be able to take them to activities or appointments without asking for permission was important. And now one of my favorite things to do is walk them to school every morning. And today I actually have been able to ride bikes with them to their camp. And then I had to ride back up the top of a hill. So that was great. But, in the time after I lost my mom, I did a lot of thinking. And I remember when I went from thinking about starting a business to deciding I'm starting a business. I went online, I designed my own business cards, I had them rush shipped to my house so that they would be here in time for a local business networking event. And with that one simple action, I started a business. And that was 2017. And when you first start your business, you want everything to happen so fast. You want results, you want them like yesterday, like I said. And I am also that impatient, probably more. But what I want to share with you today is what I call the KS momentum framework, which breaks down how to get results in your business. And I want to show you a visual in case if you weren't able to get the workbook, or you can see it on your workbook there. Let's just go screen share. So this is the framework. Feel connected, do the thing, get results. So we're going to walk through what each of these pieces actually means, but we're going to actually do it backwards. because you're going to think about the results that you want. You need to kind of know what the end game is, where you're trying to get to, in order to figure out what you need to do in order to get there, right? What are the actions, and what do you do when you actually feel like you've lost momentum and you don't really know how to get yourself going again. So when it comes to results, I want you to know that, first of all, these are subjective. So 100% up to you what you're trying to achieve. So I'd love it if you share in the chat any specific goals that you have that you're trying to reach right now. You have, maybe you got a financial goal that seems big, you have like a work time goal, you want to land a specific client, you have a project you're trying to finish, any of those things. That is where it comes down to your own personal view on what the result is. And I really encourage you also to notice that there are small wins that are part of this, like the little steps along the way are also results, because success in itself is not a destination, it is a journey. So the lessons learned, the quote failures that you might have, those actually are also results. So I really want to reframe the way that you're thinking, that way that generally, society thinks about the only way to measure success is money in your bank account, because there are so many steps in between there that really do need to count. You need to be able to look at everything that you're doing on a daily basis and see like that was progress. It needs to feel like progress. You need to acknowledge it as progress. You need to name it that, right? So any of the results that you are looking for, any of your goals that you're trying to achieve, require you to take action, right? So this is the do the thing part. This is the do the thing, put yourself out there. And when you do that, when you take an action, you are enrolling somebody else in your process. So nothing happens when nothing happens, right? We know that to be true. We've heard that before. I was actually watching America's Got Talent while I was on vacation in the States a couple of weeks ago. And it made me think, I don't know why, it was a very strange kind of analogy, but when you've got this skill or a talent and you want to be a performer of some kind, you kind of know that the goal should be get on stage and do something like be on that show. Because if, Simon Cowell can endorse you for what you do, then you've made it. You will have yourself validated, and you'll be able to potentially, make all of your dreams come true. And you can see there all the time that there's kind of these 2 minutes that can be life-changing for any of those people. But what is the 2 minutes that can change your life when it comes to your business? There isn't just one stage, right, that you can get on that can get you discovered. So it's kind of a little bit ambiguous. It's an unknown that you don't really know that what specific action you need to take today or tomorrow that could be your big break. But what if you could imagine that anything that you do could be the breakthrough that you're looking for? What if your story ends up being you sent an email to somebody and they ended up being a huge client or a referral partner or a connection who introduced you to somebody else that you needed to meet that then took you to the next level? Or maybe it's something like you go to an event and you met somebody that changed your life. I think that phrase, life-changing, is kind of put on a pedestal, and it gets reserved for the big moments, which, like, I've had plenty of big moments, and I'm sure you have too, but it's not just those things that actually lead to something that can be huge. I think back to when I went to high school. I was 13 years old and I had to choose which high school to go to. And because I chose the one I went to, which was Bow Valley, I met my now husband. And I did not know that, the impact of that decision that I made and that action that I took when I was 13. And obviously the result of it didn't even happen for several years. And sometimes that's the way it goes. I play a game sometimes called If I Never Did This, Then I Never Would Have This. Like if you start connecting the dots to some of the really simple things that you've done in your life, both personally and when it comes to your business, you'll see that it's not just the big, tremendous things like starting a new business or, hiring someone or making a particular product or launching a service that takes off that is actually going to get you where you want to go. I'll give some examples I'd love to see in the chat too. Oh, and Christian, I love your goal, like landing corporate clients to getting bigger orders for sure. Some examples of the small things that I've done and think about for yourself. And if you can share in the chat or just put in your notes, that would be great. One thing was I went to a co-working event. I actually read about it in the newspaper. I read the newspaper. I saw there was an event and I went there and I met my two first clients. I went to another event. It got me my first speaking engagement, and it also led to me eventually becoming the president of my Chamber of Commerce here for a period of time. I bought a course, and that led me to meet so many amazing people who turned into awesome collaborators in my business that I've been able to interview and bring into programs and be part of their programs and all that kind of stuff. I attended a workshop one time and it turned into an awesome business partnership, which led to thousands of dollars in affiliate commissions. And I sent a video DM to an online influencer named Angie Lee. I asked her to join and be on a summit that I hosted, and she said yes. And I got to interview an 8-figure businesswoman as a result of that. And that was that felt scary. A lot of those things felt scary and uncomfortable. And, it's just the act of doing them that gets you through to seeing some kind of result. And quite honestly, the whole premise for this training and this concept was really solidified with that one action of me sending that video. It was actually a video in DM that I sent to Angie Lee. And when she said yes to that, I was like, what else is possible? So the same week, somebody approached me and asked what my rate was to work with me, and I doubled it. And she still said yes. And I was like, okay, I get it. Like, this is momentum. Like, let's move on. Let's keep going. Let's keep trying. Because, if you don't try, then nothing's going to happen for sure. I also have a story of a friend of mine who's an entrepreneur who said she once went to a trade show when she worked for her previous employer. So before she even had a business, she's like, I do not want to go to a trade show. I'm not the kind of person who likes to dress in a golf shirt and talk to people all day and try and sell them stuff. But she ended up meeting a lady there who ended up becoming her best client and who refers her business constantly to this day. So it really can be that simple. Let's see in the comments here. Joined a young tradesmen's meetup group. Then the pandemic hit. Yep. However, this spring, okay, you got a client from it. So that's a couple years in the working. So it's like those, you put all the lines in the water and you keep doing it and you keep doing it, and eventually something comes up on each of those lines, and who knows how long it's been sitting there, right? They don't fish, clearly. So that analogy might not work, but that's truly how it is. So, if it is that simple, the question is, why aren't more people doing it? And why aren't you doing it? What it comes down to is fear. And it's what you're telling yourself and also what you're not telling yourself. Because you are afraid of what will happen if you fail. You are also maybe afraid of what would happen if you succeed, because you feel like an imposter and you feel unqualified to do what you're trying to do. And we all feel that way, and some days more than others. And I am in that bucket absolutely 100% all of the time as well. So the question you need to ask yourself is, what's the worst that can happen? Next time you're hesitating about taking any action, ask yourself that first. I was nervous about sending the video to this person who I didn't know, who was just somebody semi-famous on the internet. And I asked myself, what's the worst that could happen? If I ask her and she says no, or she doesn't respond, I'm in the exact same situation that I'm in right now, which is that she's not speaking on my summit. If I don't ask her, there is absolutely no way she can speak on my summit. So that was my entire thought process. And then I went and did the action. So when you can push through that fear, you might also need to find a little more motivation to take action, because there's another piece of this formula. And here's what I think drives it. It's being connected to your purpose. So that's the step one of the framework. When you know that you're doing work that feels in alignment for you, and it feels like you're calling and you're using your gifts, you will feel way more confident to take action because you'll want to. You have to have that belief and that connection to what you're doing and why you're doing it. Thinking about what is it all for? You need that reason to show up and try every day and to do these hard things, or sometimes they're hard and sometimes they're not so hard, but just to keep doing it when you don't feel like doing it, right? It's just like if you're trying to exercise and you're going to the gym and you go to the gym 3 times and then you don't go to the gym the next week, and then you don't ever want to go to the gym again. It's challenging. So I want to walk through an exercise with you, and this is something that I only do inside of my paid programs, but I want to share it with you today. And it's called 7 Levels Deep. So it's an exercise that was created by Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi. And the first thing that you do is you ask yourself the question, why is it important that I am successful with my business? So I'd love for you to do this along with me right now and be really just quick and reactionary in your answers, and see if you can just take it from your gut. The 7 steps are you do the first one, and then you're going to use the answer to the first question and ask yourself the question again. So if the answer to why is it important that I'm successful with my business is to create financial freedom for my family, the next line is going to say, why is it important to create financial freedom for my family? And then you repeat that 7 times. So I'm actually going to pause for 5 minutes for you to do this exercise. And if you have any questions on how to do it, please let me know. But I think some silence will help you to go through it. Still on level 3. Well, how about I share mine as an example? Because yes, I've done this exercise several times, and I think it's one that's good to do every year or every time you feel like a big shift in what you're going through, what your own experience is. And yeah, once you get to level 5, even 4 maybe is pretty hard to answer it. But one of the things I would encourage you to do is just, find some quiet time to do this exercise, because we need to not judge ourselves by the answers that we're putting down. And I think that sometimes is what happens. I watched somebody in a workshop I did, a live workshop, she wrote so instinctively. What is that called? It's like intuitive writing, where you just are almost like getting a download and just following whatever your hand is saying. So maybe if you can kind of get yourself journaling a little bit before you even go into this exercise, that might help. But I will share mine just for the sake of, sharing an example. So for sure, number 1 is why is it important for me to be successful in my business? It is to create financial freedom for my family. And that's important because I want to give my family a great life. And that's important so that we can enjoy more quality time together. And that's important because life is short and we need to live it to the fullest. And that's a lesson that I've learned very, very personally. And that is important. Living life to the fullest is important because I want to leave a legacy for my kids and inspire them. That's important because I want them to know that anything is possible, and I want them to believe that. And that's important so that they can follow their passions and their dreams and go out and try for whatever it is that they want. And so I just did that one fresh today. So a little bit of a surprise to myself as well too, but it's just a reminder because that whole feeling of connection is such a critical part in creating the momentum because, and like I was saying, when you feel like you've lost your momentum, this is what I encourage you to come back to, whether you keep this piece of paper like beside you or you do this exercise again. It's going to help you reconnect with your why because you need to believe in how important it is, what you actually do is, so that you stop at nothing in order to be able to do it. You have to know why you're doing something to actually motivate you to do that thing, which will then result in the results that you're looking for. So that comes back to the momentum framework. Feel connected, do the thing, get results, and repeat. And when you're not getting the results that you want, either shift the way that you're looking at results to acknowledge that what feels like not a win actually is a lesson that you needed to learn, and that will help you to get to the next step, right? So the core theme here is action. Taking an action gets you results. Feeling connection helps you to get an action. Hold on, I'm going to pause a second because there's a comment in the chat. I thought it would be wrong since it wasn't business related. So your level 7 was be a happy family, and you thought it would be wrong because it wasn't business related. Well, last time I checked, as an entrepreneur, you are the whole package. You are all the roles that you're playing in your life, not just the business, right? And I've totally get that. And I've struggled with that too, because especially if you ever worked in a corporate environment before, you were told, check your personal life at the door, basically come on in and do this job. It is basically impossible to take your personal self out of your business self. And also, aren't we building these businesses so that we can create the personal life that we want? They're so intricately connected that it is required that you have personal things within your list, that these are like the reason that you're doing what you're doing is ultimately coming back to the people around you, the people that you care about, the family that you have, whether it's kids, spouse, friends, whatever. That's what it's for. And that's a reminder too, like that I need to give myself on a regular basis. Is like when I tell my kids, go away, I'm trying to work. It's like, wait a minute. You're here. I wanted to be here with you. I can't resent the fact that you're here. That was the whole point. As I shared my story earlier, I was giving my kids away for 12 hours a day and I was getting zero time with them because by the time I picked them up, all I had time to do was feed them before they would get so hangry that they'd want to eat each other. They'd be crying literally because there were 3 in 1. Oh, and then they would go to bed. So I was like, this is not the life that I want. The life that I want involves me calling my own shots, right? Being in charge of what I can do with my time. And as much as that feels sometimes like overwhelming to have to be the one who goes out and, gets the clients and finds the income and creates that quote stability that you want. And you're not, guaranteed it from an employer. And I'm doing this a lot because, the reality is that you're not guaranteed your job, even if you have a job with somebody else. this is what needs to happen to keep us going. We need to remember what we're really here for. So back to the core theme of action. Taking action is a requirement in getting the results that you want. But what actions should you take? Because there's truly so many types of things that you can do to move your business forward. But since I'm a branding and marketing strategist, I like to focus on the things that help create visibility specifically. So visibility is a result that comes from taking actions within 3 categories of what I call the visibility trifecta. So I want to show you another image for that, because I just kind of coined this idea. Here's my picture. Here we go. It's like expand to show all windows because I have a million things open as usual. I don't know if you're like that. So the visibility trifecta is marketing, branding, and PR. It's a combination of all 3 of these things. And branding being the who you are, marketing is how you talk about it, and PR is building relationships. So we need to do all of those things. We can't just talk about what we do, sell all the time. We can't just do the branding piece because quite honestly, a lot of that is this internal stuff that's behind the scenes and it doesn't really put us out there as much. And then PR is building relationships, but you can't just go to coffee dates all the time. So let's unpack that a little bit more. I'm going to start with PR because I actually have a degree in that, which you may or may not know. And this is one of what I think is one of the most underutilized strategies when it comes to growing your business. We all know we need to do marketing, but how is PR different, right? So to me, this is all about relationships and thinking about who you need to create relationships with that can support your goals. So how can you maybe give back to others to create mutually beneficial relationships? People who are not necessarily just your client. So thinking beyond the where can I find my client, but who can help me find my client? And that person is someone you need a relationship with. So ideas in this space are, when you join professional organizations and you meet other people who do what you do, when you meet podcast hosts, when you meet people who have complementary skills who might become referral partners for you, those kinds of things, I classify all that as PR. And, connecting in with also, one of the things I like to highlight is that you need to do online and offline activities. So thinking about your own community, especially if your business, like I know some of yours are the kind that are geographically, like really geographically related. So if you have to go in and work in person with a client or sell directly to somebody in person, then that is something you need to think about, like creating visibility for yourself within your actual community is super important. So then the marketing side of things, we tend to, like I said, only think about the who's going to buy from you. PR is strategic partnerships. So that's sort of the difference there. Marketing, of course, is just a whole overwhelming area where there's thousands of ways that you can promote your business, and you do not have to do them all. In fact, you cannot do them all. Please don't try to do them all. And the other thing is that there is just no one size fits all solution or a single strategy that's guaranteed to work for your business, because your business is unique. And what you really need to know is who is your audience, and then choose marketing tools that could actually reach them, and then be consistent about that. Rather than sort of chasing the shiny object syndrome and trying to learn all the new latest marketing trends, get a few things in place and keep doing them until you truly feel like you've exhausted that option and it's not working for you. You need to be able to have feedback, not just I'm bored of this or my post didn't go viral right away on social media. Like, these are things that you need to do consistently and show up and continue and then decide, does this work? So then the branding piece is mostly internal work because you really need to have clarity about who you are and who you're for so that you can create messaging that communicates your brand well. So the challenge being, if you don't know your brand, you really don't know who you're talking to or what you should say. So then any marketing or PR effort is going to be really challenging because you're a little bit confused about what's coming into those channels. So that is why you feel like you're throwing spaghetti at the wall, right? So as much as possible, the actions that you take in these categories should be externally facing. So involving another person, because enrolling someone else in your journey creates additional accountability for you to follow through. So let me know in the chat if there's any questions about any of those particular things. I will say as an example, just to differentiate between external and internal. External is posting on social media for your audience, sending an email, going to an event, publishing a video, getting on a sales call, taking a prospective client for lunch, things like that. That all somebody can say yes or do that, you know, versus the things you do behind the scenes, like reading a book, taking a course, downloading another freebie from the internet, doing some secondary research, or making plans. So I'm not going to discount those things because they are all helpful, but they aren't external. So they're not going to create that same kind of momentum as that whole concept of putting yourself out there, right? Being in front of people, having it go out into the world. And even if, you know, quote, nobody sees it, or you think nobody's going to see it, then you're still doing it. I actually created over 100 live videos on Facebook over the course of more than 2 years. And I never thought that, you know, I wasn't doing it because I thought it was going to go viral. And all of a sudden I was going to be this famous, you know, video maker person on the internet. And it never did happen. But showing up and doing the action was truly so important because I learned skills that I needed to learn to be able to do all these other things that I'm now doing in my business, creating more training, being able to do events like this. And also, I learned how to talk about what I do and talk about the details of things so that I could have kind of a higher level conversation with potential clients, which increased my competence and my confidence at the same time. So I want to challenge you to start today. Let me know, what action are you going to take today that's going to reignite your momentum in your business so you can start getting results faster? I want you to put it in the chat. And when this session ends, you go and you do it. You go and you do that thing. And it doesn't have to be complicated. Like I said, it can be as simple as sending somebody an email. And honestly, that's one of the things that I tend to put on my list for months. And I just keep shifting and shifting and I delay and I delay. Why have I not sent the email to that person who I really wanted to connect with? Don't know. Why am I delaying this, right? I'm watching the chat. So you've heard of the phrase taking messy action. I have a very good example of that right now for you. And that is that I've actually, and what I wanted to share with you today, since you're here, is that I've actually created a challenge for you called the 100-Day Visibility Challenge that actually gives you 100 actions that you can take that are going to help you put yourself out there and create that momentum so that you can start landing more clients, being more confident, talking about what your business is, and marketing yourself easier. So website. Ooh, website is an action. Now, yes, publishing the website, getting it actually on the internet. My very first website was one page and it literally just said, here's how you contact me, and here's like a very high level summary of what I do. And I also looked at my website as a place where I sent people, not a place that people found on the internet by themselves, but a place that they kind of could go after they've already met me or looked at my business card or something like that. And then they had a place to go. So it shouldn't prevent you from actually having clients, but you can, in fact, create a lot of different online presences within like LinkedIn and Facebook for sure. But back to the idea of messy action. That's just not letting these little things get in the way, not letting the technicalities of, oh, I don't have a website, so then I can't do this, I can't do that, and I can't do the other thing. Well, you don't need a website in order to have a client, right? That the website itself does not deliver the service that you deliver unless you have a digital product. That's a whole other conversation, but you're probably not necessarily starting with that. So what I wanted to tell you about today is this visibility challenge that I created, and particularly in mind for solopreneurs with service-based businesses who are looking to get a consistent stream of clients, feel confident about talking about your business online and offline, and become known for what you do without wasting time on social media, getting overwhelmed by the number of marketing tools out there, or being bogged down by new content every day. Because I know that you became an entrepreneur to do the thing that your business does and not to be a marketing specialist, right? But you know, the reality is if you don't put yourself out there marketing your business, you're going to continue to struggle. And we are all aware of what we should be doing, right? Maybe that's creating new content every day, but you're feeling frustrated by the lack of engagement, the algorithm changes, the new things Instagram keeps adding to the platform, and not to mention the creativity of actually having to create all that content. It really dries up that well really fast. You know, you should be showing up regularly, talking about your business. You don't necessarily know what to say though. And you know that you need to start implementing what you've learned by watching webinars, coming to entrepreneur school, reading books, downloading freebies. But who has time for that? I know you have a shelf, probably maybe more, full of notebooks filled with really great information that you're never going to look at again. And you just end up overthinking everything and doing nothing, which has you spinning your tires. So that is why I created the challenge. It's your personal guide to taking one small action a day for 100 days that's going to lead you to your next business breakthrough. And you don't need a marketing degree to do this. You can achieve the visibility that you desire while simultaneously building your confidence and creating true momentum. And the best part is it is all doable in under 30 minutes a day, and you can join the challenge for $27. So if you're ready to go from that learning to doing, to stop consuming, to start creating, and to shift from being behind the scenes to confidently stepping into the spotlight for your dream business, then this challenge is for you. As I mentioned, it took me over 2 years plus 100 Facebook Lives and a million other things that I was trying to do to learn an important lesson. It's not the thing that you do. It's not the platform or the tool. It's not like there's a magic marketing place. It's actually just the act of taking a bold action regularly so you can develop your confidence and your competence. And that's going to lead to landing way more clients. So just to give you a little preview inside of the challenge, you are going to see an interactive calendar that has a customizable action plan for exactly what to do over the course of 100 days. So you don't have to guess. There's like drop-down menus, 100 things listed for you. It covers all 3 of the visibility categories. So there's marketing activities, PR activities, and some branding as well. And you also get a momentum tracker to help you keep track of the actions that you're taking so that you can see your progress along the way. And inside, I have included several awesome bonuses that are going to help you with your marketing, just to simplify the taking the action part. 200 plus customizable templates for social media, 52 Reels audios with prompts. So if you are kind of wanting to explore the world of Reels and you're like, I don't know how to even start that, this is going to give you like 52 specifically that you can go and just recreate. I have created a confidence on camera masterclass where you can learn my shine method to teach you how to feel more confident on video. So if you're worried about actually showing up on a video, I've got some tips for you inside of that training. And I'm also sharing the interview that I did with Angie Lee, 7-figure influencer interview, where we talked about how to grow a wildly profitable business. So the total value of that whole challenge is $452. But again, it is only $27. So I'll put a link here for you if you're interested in checking it out. If you have any questions, let me know. I just, like I said, I wanted to share that this is truly a messy action situation because I've been working on this for 3 months behind the scenes, and about 90 minutes ago, I started trying to learn a whole new technology to deliver the emails so that you could actually get access to it. So if you do happen to go and purchase it and you don't actually receive it, let me know, because that just means the technology is not yet working and we are trying to figure it out. But I didn't let that stop me from coming here today and actually putting it out there for you. So is the challenge all there together so you can do it at your own pace? Absolutely. All of it is there. It's not like dripped out at you. It is, you can actually, I put in formulas in the calendar so you can plug it in, so you can go, I want to do 100 days straight, or I want to do 100 days without the weekends, or you have a whole customizable calendar where you can make your own schedule. If you're like, okay, I'm going to commit to 3 times a week doing something, and I'm going to amp it up. You can make it work however you want. And it's just a matter of clicking a drop down menu and adding the action to the date on the calendar. And the dates all like change. It's like truly the best spreadsheet I've ever seen. I like didn't know you can do that much stuff with Google Sheets or with Excel. So I'm pretty pumped about it. Here is the link for you to check it out. Make sure I put that in there for everybody. So yeah. Okay. The training went a lot faster than I was expecting. Do you have any other questions about like the visibility trifecta, the different categories of actions, or the whole concept like of just taking action? I think sometimes for me, I know I'm that kind of a person who's just like, okay, let's just do it and get things done. And I know a lot of other people are not necessarily that way, but it was my awareness of the taking action that made me create this whole challenge entirely. Because all the time people are asking me, what should I do to market my business? Where should I market my business? And I'm like, it doesn't really matter. What matters is that you do it and you put yourself somewhere and you get some information back as to whether or not that is something that's working for you. Because a lot of factors are in play. Are your ideal clients seeing what you're putting out there? Like, are you in front of the right people? Is the message clear? Are you actually like personally invested in the thing that you're doing? Because if you absolutely hate LinkedIn, then trying to make yourself go on LinkedIn every day is probably not going to feel fun. And since there's so many options out there, you might as well do something that you can actually commit to doing, right? Like, again, with the gym analogy, it's like choosing an exercise you actually enjoy. Go to spin class if you love spin class, but don't go to spin class if you hate riding a bike, right? Pick yoga, pick something else, pick something you can commit to and do it regularly. That's the whole idea. And even inside this challenge, while there are 100+ different types of activities that you can do, you can repeat the same one every single day. And I think you would get the same results from doing the same thing 100 times, as opposed to like mixing them all up. But sometimes it's just good to try different strategies. And at the end, you'll be able to determine what worked for you, like something that happened in there that was maybe something you never thought about doing before, and it led to a big result that you never even imagined, right? So I'm going to wrap us up a little bit early today. It's a beautiful summer day here. So if you are anxious to get back outside and enjoy some sunshine, please do so. Please feel free to send me a message if you have any questions about this or anything that we learned today. Or if you do end up joining the visibility challenge and it doesn't work. I need to know that. So my email is kelly@ksco.ca. I will share just before we go about what's coming up in Entrepreneur School. So I've got a lot of really great guests joining over the course of the next few months. I have almost got the entire year all mapped out. And we do have one in August, and that's going to be on August 17th. And our guest is talking to us about how to organize your business. So this is the whole systems side of things, the ways that you can start capturing workflows and simplify how you're actually building and creating and delivering the work that you do. So that one will be really interesting. She uses a tool called Airtable, which is essentially a project management tool, but the whole idea is to talk about how you can create the systems you need in order to project manage your business. You get things done. That becomes very important when you are running everything by yourself, and also when you start engaging with a team and or maybe wanting to use things like that for clients too. So August 17th for that. All of the Entrepreneur School events, I'll pop the link in the chat. They're all on entrepreneurschool.ca, and we have the calendar updated. Let's see how far we have it updated for. Cool. It's not on here. They'll be there tomorrow when my graphic designer comes back and I can get that updated, because I know they're all created in Eventbrite. That's another place where you can follow along our Eventbrite page, and all of the upcoming events will be there. In September, we are going to have a session about networking, how to really connect with people during networking. So it's not just like you go and you pitch yourself and you leave, how to find people who can actually be really beneficial to you and your business. We're going to be talking about how to run effective meetings. So whether or not you had any kind of corporate experience before, having a way to structure a meeting so that you can make sure that you have it be effective for yourself, whether that's with a team or with a client. That'll be a really great session. We're going to be talking about health and wellness in October. We're going to be talking about LinkedIn. I have a LinkedIn expert coming in October to help walk through optimizing your profile on LinkedIn. So that is what's coming up in Entrepreneur School. I hope to see you all at a future event. Thank you for coming, and please do share this with a friend next time. Invite a friend along to join us at Entrepreneur School. It's free, it's for everyone, and I'd love to see you again.
Thank you so much, Kali.
Thanks, Fernanda.
Bye.
Bye.